This is a song for every book that is unwritten. This is a song for every song that is unsung. This is for those who feel your dreams won't see fruition. I believe you have capacity to grow. I decree you have capacity to grow. This is a song for every heart that has been broken. This is a song for every scar that hasn't healed. This is for those who made mistakes and you feel discarded. I believe you have capacity to grow. Oh, I decree you have capacity to grow. It's in the will of God. You are wondrously made and blessed by the Holy One.
Come on, young people.
That caused you failure will be the thing that brings you forth. I believe you have capacity to grow. Oh, yeah. I believe capacity to grow. In the will of God.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Hello. Come on, I only see 2 comments. Let me know that you are here. All right, I believe that you have the capacity to grow. What a declaration. Good evening. I see my mom is on. Hello, mother. Hey, Sister Marie, my bro, Ewing is on. I will be with him right after I get done tonight in his show that he has going on. I will be with him. Hey, KK, I've been looking for you, girl. Good evening, everybody. Thank you all for tuning in tonight to the Self-Checkout Show, and I am glad to have you guys with me tonight, as we do every week. Please share this show, this broadcast. Good evening. Yes, I will be with you. Right after I jump off, I'm jumping in another one. All right, but hey, we gotta do what we gotta do, right? We are networking. Hey, Ms. Sims. Good evening, Mrs. Sims, excuse me. All right, so hey, Pastor Greg Huggins Jr. is on here. So good to see you. Y'all need to know that KK is my lefty bestie. We are both left-handed, and well, my left hand is kind of jacked up right now, but that's who she is. She is my new lefty bestie, even though she give me a hard time, y'all. She really do. Good evening, good evening, everybody. Come on, you guys. Come on, share this show tonight. All right, that's what I'm talking about, Kay. Share this show tonight. We're going to talk about some good stuff, and we're going to have a good time as we do every week. Last week, of course, we kicked off our month-long series, I Got Issues. Ooh, I got issues, and do I have issues? Yes, there he is, y'all. There he is, Mr. Howard Lavelle. That is the song that we listened to. His new single is called Capacity, and everybody should go and get it. The good news is that we all, as he said in that song, have the capacity to grow. And that's what this show is all about. Capacity to grow. It's about growth. And the good news is I've been knowing Howard for a very, very long time, and he's always been a phenomenal singer. So I'm finally glad that I can go and purchase music from him. You know what? I haven't forgotten about you guys, Greg, Pastor Greg. I have not forgotten about you guys. I just had to get this series done this month, and next month I'm taking off the whole month of December. Okay. So I get you guys in January because I'm going to do nothing but rebroadcast next month. See how my mom says she loves the song. So there we go. I'm going to have to put it on her playlist. So I am going to get you and Campbell on so we can cut up like we always do. Thank you so much, KK. Thank you so much. Hey guys, last week we started our series on I Got Issues. And we talked about last week, who, me? Yes, you. You have issues, and so do I have issues. We all have issues. And one of the things that we talked about, well, it was 2 points that we made last week. You are more than welcome, my friend. I will make sure to share it alone on my social media so that everyone can go and purchase that single, and I will tag you in that post. Yeah, so we talked about two things last week to help us once we, come to grips with the fact that we have issues. And the first thing that we said was that we have to, acknowledge that we actually do have them. And number two, we got to make a move, right? We have to not just acknowledge that we have issues, not just acknowledge and accept the fact that we are jacked up in a lot of areas, but we also have to make a move, be proactive, put forth some effort in getting help with our issues. It's a dangerous person that knows that they are messed up and don't want help. Those type of people bother me, because like people who say, oh, I know I got a bad attitude. That's just the way I am. No, that's not okay. They got to deal with it. No, I don't have to deal with it. You need to get some help for your issues. And in that series, I Got Issues, I wanted to talk tonight about something that affects all of us, really, and that is triggers. I was actually asked to do, yeah, absolutely, Miss Maria. It's not okay. It's not okay to know you have a bad attitude or whatever and just say, that's just the way I am, deal with it. No, we're not going to deal with it. But I was asked to do a show on triggers tonight. And it always, let me say, it blesses me when people text me or inbox or call me and say, Pastor Will, I need you to do a show on whatever, because this, and this. I said, okay. So I believe that those people trust me and trust the God in me to bring to light information, scripture that will help them. So therefore, I said, yes, of course, if someone finds this platform helpful, that blesses them and helps them to live, then job well done for me. God is pleased. So who am I to say, no, I'm not going to do a show on that? So I'm going to do it. And we're doing it tonight. And tonight we are talking about triggers. Triggers. What is a trigger? What is a trigger? A trigger is a reminder of past trauma a reminder of past trauma. This reminder can cause a person to feel overwhelming sadness, anxiety, or panic. It may also cause someone to have flashbacks. Okay, let's read that again. A trigger is a reminder of past trauma. Every one of us has experienced some type of trauma in our past, whether it was an abusive relationship, whether it was sexual abuse or molestation as a child. Gosh, it could have even been spiritual abuse. It could have been. It could be death, the death of a loved one. Those are all different kinds of traumas and triggers. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I have them too. I have triggers too. So yeah, KK, that's what we get all the way in it on the self-checkout show. This is the show. Our motto here is where we take an honest look at what's in our hearts, in our minds, and in our spirits. And oftentimes we have issues. That's the name of this overall series. I have issues. And when we have issues that are never dealt with, the slightest thing can trigger you. A trigger, once again, third time, it's a reminder of past trauma. If you were in an abusive relationship, at some point, maybe, let's do it like this. Maybe the relationship was good at some point. You ever had, you and your guy or your girl or whatever, had your husband, your wife, had a favorite song, and y'all would dance and enjoy and everything when that song came on? Those were the good times, right? But it turned out to be a really horrible, abusive relationship. You finally get out, but every time you hear that song, you think about that person. And it sets you back. It takes your mind back to the pain, to the trauma. You remember, right? KK says, I'm a firm believer of past trauma causing the path and results of your future. That's exactly right. That is absolutely right. You think about, the bad times, because let's be honest, in some of these relationships, abusive especially, the bad times outweigh the good times. Come on. And you could hear a certain song and it'll remind you of the horrible past trauma that you experienced with that individual. Or you could be in a store. I go to Macy's all the time. My mama always talking about me because I'm always in Macy's. And to get to the men's section, which is upstairs on the second floor, I have to go through the fragrance department where they have all the colognes, all the perfumes, all of that stuff. And this is a good trigger. I could smell a certain perfume because I know what my mom wears because I buy a lot of it for Christmas, for birthday, whatever. And it'll remind, my mama got that. It makes me think of my mom. And that's a good thing. But my point is, a scent, just that scent reminds me of my mom, right? So it could be the other way around. It could be the smell of a cologne or a perfume that will remind you of someone you love that's passed away. These are triggers. These are past traumas, right? I left that up there on the screen. This reminder can cause a person to feel overwhelming sadness, anxiety, or panic, right? You have certain things, certain songs, certain smells, certain television shows. The last part says it may also cause someone to have flashbacks. Like, for example, someone who's been in a war, if they fought in the Afghanistan war, thank God it's over. If they fought in the Iraqi war, whatever war, Vietnam, these individuals can watch certain shows and it triggers them if there's shooting in the show or if there's a depiction of war, and it triggers them. And these individuals, we call it's medical PTSD, post-traumatic syndrome disorder. I think that most of us have that PTSD when it comes to triggers, because it takes you right back to that place of sadness. It takes you right back to that place of anxiety and panic. And yeah, you do have flashbacks sometimes. So what do we do with these triggers? What do we do with how we feel? The one thing, well, let's go here. What we don't want to do is you don't want to ignore your triggers. Katina is here. Hey. Katina is here. Good to see you again. Thank you for joining us tonight. You do not want to, let me put that on the screen because I really need you guys to know this. You do not want to ignore. I put that in all caps. Do not ignore your triggers. You know what they are. We know what our triggers are. Y'all ain't gonna let me talk about y'all, so I'll talk about me. I know for a fact certain situations trigger me. It puts me in a bad spot. It puts me in a bad mood. And I had to be honest with myself, because at a time I thought that it was gone. I thought I was okay. And then a situation arose and I got really, really all out of sorts and feeling away. And I said, no, it's not gone. It's still there. It was just sleep. It was just lying dormant. Yes, that's right, brother. You cannot afford to ignore your triggers. You can't. So I immediately, I did what this show is called. I did some self-checkout, some self-inventory, and I had to really pray about it, because I don't want to get mad every time this happens. You understand what I'm saying? I don't want to be nervous or worry every time this happens. So I'm like, no, I cannot ignore the fact that this triggers me. So I have to mentally and spiritually deal with myself, especially if you know that there's a great chance that this situation will arise again, because that's true in many cases. In many cases, without triggers, we know it's going to happen again. There's a possibility that you're going to see him or her, or a certain situation may arise that will take you back to that place. There's a great possibility that these things are going to happen, but whatever you do not ignore your triggers. You have to sit down with yourself and talk to yourself about yourself. Sometimes you have to do that, and come to grips and be honest with yourself and say, okay, I know this is going to happen. I know I'm going to be here. I know I'm going to see this person. What do you do, though? What do you do? I'm going to give you again the first point that we made last week. Acknowledge that you have triggers. Now, this deals with or talks about our emotional well-being. We focus a lot, and we should focus on our physical well-being. Well, I don't go to nobody's gym. I walk a lot. That's about it. But I don't think we pay enough attention to our emotional state, because I really want us to get to a point where you can see him or her and it doesn't affect you. That's when you know you've overcome a trigger. Especially if it's a person, if it's somebody that did you in, when you know you've been delivered from that person, from that trigger, when you finally see him or her and you don't feel that anger, you don't feel the hatred anymore, that's when you know you've overcome. My cousin, Pastor Willie Taylor, yes, we have the same name. Yes, he's Pastor Willie Taylor. Yes, I'm Pastor Willie Taylor. He says, I teach a theory called the fan. In this theory, you must understand even when the fan is disconnected, the blades will still turn. However, in due season, the blades will stop turning. That's good. That is good. That's very, very good. You have to stop plugging the fan back up. I like that. That's true. You unplug a fan, the power has been pulled from it. There's no more power going to it, but those blades are still spinning. The blades are still spinning. So what do we do? How do we deal with our emotional state concerning triggers? Well, the Bible speaks about this. What? The Bible talk about triggers? Yep. Whether you know it or not. Yes, it does. Because we're talking emotion. We're talking emotional. And I am not going to take up a whole lot of your time. I promise I'm not. But you have to be aware, because I'm talking to Christian people. Yes. You have to be aware of your triggers, and you have to know what to do with them or what to do about them. I want to show you this right here. Let me just do this part right here. I'm going to put this up. Here's one scripture that I found, because we are dealing with emotional. It has to deal with our emotional well-being. Philippians chapter 4, verse 6 and 7 says, be anxious about nothing. Do not be anxious about anything, right? But in everything, by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto God. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will do what? Will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. So the Bible tells us triggers. Be anxious about nothing. Don't be anxious about anything. It goes on to say, but in everything by prayer and supplication. Anxious, anxiety. Remember, we said that in the beginning. There it is. A trigger is a reminder of a past trauma. This reminder can cause a person to feel overwhelming sadness, right? And anxiety. It can cause you to feel anxious. But the Bible says to us to be anxious for nothing. About nothing. Don't be anxious over anything. I want to get that in the Message Bible. Let me pull that up and read it to you, because I think you may get a better understanding of it if I read it there. I'm in the wrong chapter. I should be chapter number 4. And I want to tell you what it says, because anxiety, we have people on medication because of anxiety, because we cannot get a grip on a lot of the situations that's happening in our lives, a lot of the triggers, right? A lot of the triggers, we can't get a grip on those things, and it causes anxiety. The Message Bible says, don't fret or worry. Instead of worrying, pray. That's the one thing you got to do to get over your triggers. You got to pray, man. You got to pray. You got to pray, and you got to be honest in your prayers and tell God. He already knows anyway, but he wants you to confess to him, to tell him, I need help with my triggers. He says, the Apostle Paul says, don't fret, don't worry. Instead of worrying, pray. And then he says, let petitions and praises shape your worries into prayers, letting God know your concerns. Before you know it, a sense of God's wholeness, everything coming together for good, will come and settle you down. When dealing with your triggers, there is, I just want you to know that there is a peace that comes with prayer. And you have to go down in prayer. You know, I can tell you this. This is just my personal feeling. It feels really, really good when I can go in prayer and be honest and say what I need to say, knowing that God's going to do something about it, knowing that he's going to come and see about me, knowing that he will help me with my issues, knowing that he will help me with my triggers. I've only had one recently that I had to sit myself down about, like, okay, you cannot keep doing this. See, I'm honest with myself. That's the first thing. I'm honest with myself and say, okay, I know this affects me. Now, what am I going to do about it? Because I can't keep being affected like that. If we keep allowing our triggers to affect us like that, do you not know it stops you? It stops your momentum. It causes you to be stagnant. You stop moving. Why? Because now you're dealing with sadness, anxiety, right? You got to deal with all that. So you're not as progressive as you should be. You're not moving towards destiny anymore because you have allowed your triggers to get the best of you. Hey, my sister is on. Sister Glenda, good to see you on tonight. You have to stop and say, well, this is what I did. This is what I did. I said, okay, this really ticked me off. And I'm talking about I was big mad, right? But see, here's the thing. It happened a few times before, and every time I got big mad. So now my concern is, how am I going to move forward knowing that this is my trigger? Knowing that there's a great chance that I'm going to have to deal with this again. What do? Do I ignore it? Absolutely not. No. That's the one thing you don't want to do, because when you ignore it, you know what it does? It's only going to take root and grow and grow and grow. Next thing you know, you're mad about everything. How they say one rotten apple spoils the whole bunch. That's true. But the Apostle Paul says in Philippians chapter 4, don't worry about it, pray about it. Listen, the old folks used to say, take your burdens to the Lord and do what? Leave them there. And that's what I had to do. And I will tell you, And I can be honest enough and say that since I've done that, and it's only been maybe a month or so since I've done that, I have found myself at peace in that situation. Because I like I said, I sat myself down and I talked to myself and I'm like, okay, you can't keep letting this bother you. It's not that big of a deal. For me, I'm not saying you, because your situation may be different. For me, it's really not that big of a deal. I just had to man up and be mature about the situation and say, deal with it, because it ain't going nowhere. It's not going to change. So you're going to get mad every time? No, I can't live like that. I can't live like that. Mama said, listen to us old folk. But some stuff, man, you have to do like the apostle said, pray and don't worry. I know that's easier said than done. But if you practice prayer, there it is. If you practice prayer, it'll get a little more easy. Actually, it'll get a lot more easy. Because let me tell you, see, I told y'all, I'm not going to talk about y'all tonight. I'm going to talk about me. And you can let me know if you can identify with where I'm coming from. There is somebody who whenever I see them, it's like inside I cringe. Can I be honest like that with y'all? This is the self-checkout show, right? Yeah, we take an honest look at what's in us. I'm telling you, I cringe when I see this person. And I don't like that. Now, seeing them is a trigger for me. It is. Thank God I don't have to see them often. But it is a trigger for me. And, oh man, maybe 2-3 weeks ago, I saw that individual, and inwardly, y'all, just let me just tell the truth tonight. Inwardly, I was like, please don't say nothing to me. Please don't say nothing to me. Please don't say nothing to me. Because I don't want to deal with it. I know how to be cordial. I know how to be nice. I know how to be grown and mature. But I would rather not. Bro, I'm just saying. I'm telling the truth. I'm telling the truth. And wouldn't you know it, 2-3 minutes later, here they come, all up in here. And I'm like, oh. But I had to play the game. And I'm like, okay, God, you know how I feel about this person. And thankfully, somebody else called them and got them away from me. And I was really happy about that. But it's a trigger for me. But again, what do we do when you know you can't avoid it? Sometimes you just can't. Well, let's see what my cousin says. He says 1 Corinthians 10:13 says, there's no temptation taken to you, but such as is common to man. But God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able. Well, he sure tried me that day. But will, with the temptation, make a way to escape. Yeah, he made a way to escape when that woman came and pulled them away from me. Thank you, lady, whoever you are. Oh man, God will make a way of escape. Don't miss your exit to escape. Absolutely, don't miss your exit. So yeah, so what do? We have to be honest, right? We have to acknowledge that we have issues, whatever those issues may be, whoever they may be, and this is going to be a big one. This is going to be a big one. Learn how. Let me put this on. No, y'all need to see this. And this is going to be in all caps too. I see this one. We must, me, had to, and in some cases still have to, learn how to respond when I am triggered. You got to learn how to respond. You got to learn how to respond. Now, I'm saying this, I'm coming from a place of a person who had a really horrible temper. And sometimes it still rears its head. Okay. But I had to learn how to respond. Sometimes you don't need to respond at all. It's true. But sometimes you have to say something or do something. But what matters is not that you respond. What matters is how you respond to your triggers. Let me show you something else on that note. Let me show you something else. This is why it kind of slapped me in the face. I'm going to show you this. It matters how you respond. Look at that. Proverbs 15:18 says, a hot-tempered man stirs up strife, but he who is slow to anger quiets contention. That was me, the hot-tempered man. Hey, Denise, good evening, good evening, good evening. Thank you for joining. That was me, the hot-tempered guy, hothead. Because what you don't want to do is just go off and say something that you're going to regret because you don't know how to respond to your trigger. You create strife when you go off and you got a you go off, and it causes strife because you're hot-headed. You're hot-headed. Hey, Mama Michelle. You are hot-headed. And that is not how you respond to your trigger. Uh-oh. He said runs in our family. I think you're right. I think you are right, because we have to learn how to respond. And number one, you know what? Not just how to respond, but we have to know when to respond to. I should have put that in there also. You got to know when to respond, because when it happens initially, right then and there may not be the best time. I'm talking to myself while I'm talking to y'all, by the way. Okay, well, Charlotte says, hey, my godson's mama, Charlotte says, if you hold it in, won't you explode? I feel like I will, for real. I'm like, man, I got to say something. But see, that was my problem. That was my problem. I'm going to say something right then and there. Y'all got to remember, I am my mother's child. We don't hold back. But I had to learn how to work that. I can respond, but I don't have to respond right now. I don't have to respond right away. And I've got to know how to respond. Because watch this, if it's a covenant relationship, I need to be really, really careful, because you may do something to trigger me. You see what I'm saying? But if I love you and I care about you and I'm in relationship with you, how I respond could tear up or save our relationship. It depends on how I respond. And if we are in relationship and something happens where you trigger me and it hits me inwardly, I do need to address this with you. You may not even know. See, there's why we have to watch how we respond. Because if you and I are in relationship and you do or say something that triggers me, you may not even know it's a trigger for me. And you're wondering why I'm going off on you, why I'm responding to you so harshly. You don't even know that you've done it. It's about covenant relationship. It's about kingdom relationship. Son, can you speak to when this situation continues to surface? Is God trying to teach you something? Let me put that back up. When the situation continues to surface. I want to go back again on relationship. If it's an individual, you need to evaluate that relationship. I'm going to talk about me. I need to look at this person that where I keep getting triggered. Situation continues to surface. I need to take a look at our relationship before I say anything. Is God trying to teach me something? Very well possible. Or is God trying to take me away from something or someone? There's a thought there too. But I need to look at who you are to me. And are you worth, is this person worth me saving the relationship? Because a lot of times we get into stuff, we get into relationships that were never ordained of God anyway. I'm talking about romantic, platonic, whatever. We get into them that God never ordained. And so if it keeps happening, now we got to take a step back and say, okay, wait a minute. What's happening here? This keeps happening between you and I. Why does this keep happening? So you might want to evaluate that relationship, and if there is a lesson to be learned, I'm sure in due time God will kind of pull the veil and show you what it is. So I definitely say if the situation continues to surface and it's not good for you, pull back a little bit. Pull back a little bit and evaluate that relationship, because it may be one that you never were supposed to be in the first place, no matter what type of relationship that may be. That's all I can bring to light on that. That's all I have. If it continues to happen, because see, now that's kind of sort of what the situation I was in. I know that periodically this right here is going to happen. So what am I going to do? How am I going to react? And sometimes it is just you. Let me say that. Because I'm just talking about me tonight, y'all. In my situation, nobody has wronged me. Nobody had wronged me. It's just something I just don't like. And I had to come to grips with the fact that just because I don't like it doesn't mean it's not okay. I just don't like it. So I have to deal with me about me and stop allowing that to trigger me and grow up and say, yo, this is life. This is what it is. Deal with it. That's me. But yeah, I definitely, Mama Michelle, I definitely think you should take a step back and evaluate that situation. And if it's detrimental and if it's causing anxiety, stress, sadness, you may want to see if it's just time to disconnect, if it's time to cut that cord. That's what I would take a look into. KK says, I can agree with that. I had to realize that it's not always what's around you, but things you have to fix within yourself to learn and grow from it. See, I told you guys. See, I can be honest with y'all. I had to do that, KK. I had to look within because nobody was doing anything to me. I was triggered, but they didn't know that they were triggering me. It's me. I knew that this is something in me that I have to deal with. So let's talk relationships for a moment before we get out of here. What my cousin says, the Bible, Romans 12:8, if it be possible, as much as lies in you, live peaceably with all men. The key to this verse, if it be possible. And I agree with that. Okay, KK says, I'm also just speaking for myself because I have had plenty trauma and triggers for sure. We all have. Sometimes it's impossible to deal with some people. And that's absolutely true. It's just some people are impossible, period. Put a period right there. Some people are just impossible. But yeah, KK, we all have triggers, and we have to. Again, it's just a couple of things, guys. A big one is to examine if it's a relationship, whether it be romantic or platonic. Examine that relationship, and if it's worth cutting, cut it. If it will help you live, cut it. I told somebody this a long time ago. I was in my probably early 30s, and they was doing all this, and I'm like, yo, I done lived 30-something years without you, without even knowing you. What make you think I'm not gonna live more if I let you go? Bye. Because see, we cannot be so thirsty for companionship or company or friends that we allow them to treat us or like doormats. That ain't gonna happen. You're not gonna no. See, some of these triggers we take on ourselves because we're thirsty for people to be around us. And then we end up with triggers because they do us bogus. Come on, can we talk like inner city people? They treat us bogus, and now we mad every time we hear their name. We mad every time we see them. We just mad. Well, let's take some ownership here. Let's own the fact that it was probably our fault because we wanted it so bad. Y'all ain't saying nothing right there. Y'all ain't saying, hey, Jen. It was conversation for someone else. This is good. I said some of the same things, and don't retreat from it. Learn from it. Bingo. There you go. Yes, yes, yes. Yes. See, we can't, I'm talking relationship now. We can't be so desperate and thirsty for it that we're willing to take anything. And then we're treated any kind of way. And then we're left with all of these emotional triggers. And it's affecting us everywhere. It's affecting us with our families. It's affecting our jobs, right? Then we have to take a step back and say, wait. This ain't what's supposed to be happening in my life, because it's slowing down my momentum. It's slowing me down from reaching destiny. So what do? If it's causing you, listen, man, if helping you is hurting me, you gotta go. You gotta go. If you're gonna keep triggering me, and watch this, especially if I talk to you about it, we're gonna have some problems. We are going to have some problems. But I need you to know something. You have to, because I'm getting ready to get off of here. You have to be strong enough and be honest enough and come to grips with the fact that, you know what? Some people I just don't want in my life. It's okay to say that. I don't care how long they've been there. Y'all don't like that. Y'all don't like that. So, you know what? Some people I can just do without, and I will live just fine. Be that honest with yourself, because at the end of the day, y'all, you have to look out for you. Cat Williams said, "You are your number one star player." Come on, you gotta look out for you. You gotta do what's best for yourself. I want to give you just a couple more things, maybe two more, and we can get off of here. Here's another reason why you have to be careful how you respond. If you do respond, you have to be careful. I want to put this up also. I'm going to help you with this. We need to learn this. This was me too. Wait a minute. I got a comment here. I want to say that what you are doing is great, my love, and I hope a lot of people that are struggling with self-reflection and repetitive actions come across this and learn from it. Thank you so much, KK. I really appreciate that. I really, really do. That's right, Marie. Yeah. Protect your peace at all costs, Mama said. That is true. This is why, last thing, I'm gonna do this because I could go on and on with this one. But here's why it's important that you learn how to keep your mouth and watch your temper when it comes to your triggers. Remember, you can respond, but it does matter how you respond. Let's remember that. And let's look at this right here. Let's take a look at that. Proverbs 25 and 28. The book of Proverbs is full of wisdom for situations like this. A man without self-control is like a city broken into and left without walls. Do you know what that means? When you are just reckless with your mouth and with your temper, one of the fruit of the Spirit is temperance, which means self-control. We get temper from temperance. A man without temperance, a man without self-control is like a city broken into and left without walls. Anybody can run in and out of your life and take what they want from you at their own will because we don't have self-control. When you are not in control of you, when it comes to these triggers and your emotional state, you leave yourself vulnerable. You leave yourself wide open. And anybody can come in and out. And you don't want that to happen. You don't need that to happen. That is not good for you. That is not profitable for you to not be able to control yourself. Calm down. Calm down. Get a hold of yourself and say, wait, is this even worth my attention? Is it even worth me going off about? You don't want to lose no kingdom points going off on folks. You don't want to lose. I've lost a few here and there, but they come back eventually. You'll get them back. But you got to be careful, man. You got to be careful with yourself. You have to watch your self-control. You got to be careful with yourself. Control yourself. Nobody else can control you. You are in charge of you. And what you say and how you say it matters. That is important. You have to, again, know how to respond and if you should even respond at all. Got to pray. Got to pray. Got to pray. Most importantly. Hey, my brother Cedric. So I really could have gone some more because we're just talking tonight about everyday life stuff. But I want to just give you a few things to think on as we prepare to go. Oh, I'm still giving away books. I think I've given away 2. I'm going to give away another one tonight. And because KK is so into sharing with us tonight and sharing her experiences, I would like to send you, KK, a book from my leaders, Drs. Curtis and Linda Stennis. This book is called Shadows of the Past. It's a journey to healing and wholeness. I want to get you that book. I paid for it already. I just want to get it in your hands. And we thank you for tuning into the Self-Checkout Show tonight. But I want you guys to think on these things. Our feelings can affect our physical health, often more than we realize. And we all know that health isn't just a physical thing, right? God created us as holistic people, holistic beings with a spirit, a body, and a soul. But how many of us truly connect the dots on a daily basis and realize the direct impact of our emotions have on our physical health? Do we really realize that? When we aren't feeling well, it's often our instinct to relate the problem to a physical illness. what we've been eating or drinking, or whether we've been exercising or getting enough rest. But sometimes the deeper part of the problem, the root of it all, stems from negative emotions that we allow into our life. So as you're listening to me talk about this right now, I'm going to ask you to be honest, okay, with yourself about the kinds of thoughts and feelings that you allow into your life. God wants you to be strong. God wants you to be healthy. He wants you around for the long haul, for a long time. And for many of us, taking better care of ourselves emotionally needs to be just as important as how we care for our physical needs. So as I leave you guys tonight, when you are presented with ignorant people, because there's some ignorant folks out there, when you are presented with negative thoughts that has the tendency to trigger you, my apostle, Dr. Linda Stennis, she said to us one time, she said, it's like, at the airport on the airstrips, they have the guys with the little things in their hand and tell the plane where to go and how to land and all of that. She said that we have the ability to tell that thought, you cannot land here. We have the ability to tell that person, you cannot land here in my heart. I'm taking back my power. I will not be triggered by you. Devil, Satan, get behind me. Those thoughts will not land in my head. They will not land in my heart because I am in control of myself. I say what goes in. I say what comes out. So tonight, think about, be honest, and think about your triggers. Pray about your triggers. Pray about how you respond, when to respond, and if you should even respond. And remember to take care of your emotional self, just as you take care of your physical self, right? So I have enjoyed, I told y'all tonight we were just talking about real life stuff, not preaching tonight, not doing none of that. I just wanted to talk with you guys and share a little bit of myself with you. And I believe that's what I did. But I really, really have enjoyed you guys. I want you all to come back next week, and I want you to invite somebody to come back with you next week. We're going to finish. Well, we won't be finished next week, but we will continue our series next week on the 17th, next Wednesday night. And we're going to be talking about leading and leaking. Oh boy, I got issues. We're going to be talking about leading and leaking next week. It's going to be good. This one is for all the leaders. Yeah. So you guys might want to come back for that. Invite somebody back with you next week. This is Self-Checkout, the Self-Checkout Show, where we take an honest look at what's in our hearts, minds, and spirits. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. Thank you, and congratulations to KK, who won a copy. What? Hold on, let me get it. I want to show y'all. It's right here. KK won a copy of Shadows of the Past. Oh, over here. Okay. Shadows of the Past, a journey to healing and wholeness. KK, inbox me your address. I'm going to get this book out to you, and congratulations. Next week, Wednesday night, 7 o'clock, right here, Leading and Leaking on the Self-Checkout Show. I'm Pastor Will. I love you guys. I'll see you next Wednesday.